We respectfully acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the land in which this video was filmed.
Hi, I'm Crystal Kinsella, and today I'm joined by Kieran Shirey. Hey, how you going, bruds?
Good, sis. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for having a yarn with me.
No worries. Thanks for inviting.
That's all good. So look, I want to know a little bit more about you. Tell me who you are, who's your mob, where you're from.
Yeah, my name's Kieran Shirey. I'm a proud Biripi man from the mid-north coast of New South Wales. Grew up on Purfleet Aboriginal Mission just outside of Taree.
I know Purfleet. I just live up the road on Biripi country in Port Macquarie. So look, everybody has a why they got into business, why they do what they do, something that's got the fire in their belly. Tell me, what's your why?
Yeah, look, the why is pretty easy for me. It's my mum.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for mum. Like, the opportunities back on the mish there, you've probably been to Purfleet.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough community there. A lot of my family, you know, haven't gone on and done university. A lot of my family didn't even get to high school. You know, like a lot of my mum and all my aunties and all of that. Yeah. You know, there's very few people from Purfleet that have ever owned a business. There's not even that many that have a job. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's my why. My mother made a big sacrifice to get us off the mish.
Yeah. Because
she wanted to give me that chance and just kind of take that sacrifice and propel me to give me that opportunity. So, you know, the sacrifice that she made is, you know, and why we're in business is to make that worth it. Yeah. And then to be able to return that in some way back to the, you know, the mob and the community and my family back there.
It's pretty powerful, and you're right, because I look at the contrast from where I live to just down the road to Taree and Purfleet, most definitely. So talk to me about weavr. Tell us, you know, what are you trying to achieve? Tell me about, you know, what weavr does.
Yeah, it's pretty different, eh?
It is.
Yeah. Look, you know, we're really proud to be one of the few Indigenous businesses in the tech space. We make software. We make software in-house. You know, we're you know, majority Indigenous owned, along with my partner in business and in life, Natalia Flores, proud Colombian woman. But also we're majority Indigenous, we're 50-50 women. You know, these are the things that you don't hear very often in software companies. You know, and it's about making that change. And weavr is something that I'd like to say that, you know, it was something I thought of in the shower, light bulb moment there, but it's not the case. You know, we were approached by some organisations, reconciliation managers out there that have been doing the job for a long time. And they came to us and said, look, you're an Indigenous software company. We're sick of running, you know, our reconciliation strategies, really complex things across the business. They take a long time to do and to implement correctly. And we're doing it with emails. We're doing it, you know, trying to get all this information, and it's just impossible to be able to get enough information together. And then we're expected to be like data analysts and put together these meaningful reports that tell the full story and full picture. So they said, look, we need a software. It's time to get serious about this. And so they hand passed it over to us and said, there's a good one for you. And that kicked off 18 months worth of discovery sessions that we had together, where we worked out what they were doing and worked out how a system could potentially make it, you know, more efficient and take some of that heavy burden off their shoulders so they could get on with the job, get that momentum going. So yeah, that was something that we did for a long time with those guys. So that was CSIRO, MEGT, who are a training and apprenticeship organisation, and also Advanced Queensland, who are a Queensland government agency. So they were the ones that come to us initially. So I'm really proud to say that whilst this product's made by an Indigenous software company, weavr itself is made by reconciliation managers for reconciliation managers. And one thing that's really telling is that everyone that we talk to, they often say, more often than not, they say, like, it feels like you've read my mind. You know, this thing feels exactly like what we would have imagined if we could have imagined something to help us out on this journey. So we're really proud of what we've created.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of cultural elements within there and created safe spaces. It's a very different kind of software from what you see from any other organisation, and we're really proud of it.
Oh, you so should be, because you know, when people think blackfellow in business, they definitely don't think software. So you're cutting edge in that respect.
Yeah.
But so many organisations have reconciliation action plans, and you're practically making their job a lot more seamless. You know, gone are the days where they should be just having spreadsheets and doing things manually, but your system can replace all that. Talk to us a little bit about some of the practicality of weavr.
Yeah. Well, whether it's a reconciliation action plan or an Indigenous participation plan, there's different variations. And one of the challenges was that we needed to create something that was agnostic, depending on, so any organisation, whatever their journey is in reconciliation, we're able to accommodate for it. So I guess the key areas is to be able to bring that strategy into the system so it kind of comes to life there, and they can go in and they can actually manage it within the system. And then we set up like this process of being able to automate it, which takes a lot of that chasing up that they have to do and rousing on people to try and get a bit of information from them there. So what they are able to do is work out for all of the deliverables that their organisation commits to on their reconciliation journey. They're able to specify what they need to know, when they need to know it, because it's, you know, some things like NAIDOC week, and that only happens once a year, so they don't need to be asked every month. But other things like employment and around their procurement and that, they need to be tracking more often so they understand their trends and can look for areas where they can improve. So it's about what they need to know, when they need to know it, and who they need to know it from. So making sure that it's real lean and mean, and that everyone in the business can start participating in it, and that the system is accommodating for that. So then we've also got the reports as well. And the reports is obviously key. You know, it's one thing to be gathering all this deadly information, getting all these photos of, you know, great engagements out there with Indigenous businesses, with, you know, great traineeships and great employees that have gone over and above expectations, and events that have been put on internally and externally, you know, with cultural learning sessions and that have really kind of changed the game for a lot of people, to gather all that stuff. But you need to put it in reports where it not only presents the statistics, but it tells the stories. Yeah. Because I guess what we're trying to achieve here is to organisations, you know, corporate reconciliation essentially is about trying to embed our Indigenous culture within their organisations' cultures, so that when they're making decisions, our culture's at the forefront of that rather than an afterthought. And I think to be able to do that these days with big organisations and even smaller organisations, you've got to have a system. Yeah. You know, otherwise it just doesn't, you don't get all the information, you can't do the analysis, and you lose momentum. Yeah. You know, someone's been working for a long time and then they move on for whatever reason. The whole thing is, you know, historically has just fallen on its face, and whoever comes in has no idea what's going on. Yeah. You know, this is supposed to be a journey, supposed to be able to build momentum, resilience, and that's what a system does.
It's fantastic. So what do you think the future then holds then? Because obviously this is just the starting point around reconciliation action plans, Indigenous engagement strategies. What else? What other sorts of software or other sorts of things are you thinking about into the future?
Well, as far as weavr goes, it's a really interesting space, obviously being the first in the space, where it's been a project that's been done through collaboration with reconciliation managers, and I guess the idea is that it continues to be that. Yeah. So we're not the ones that are driving what happens with this product. Yeah. We call it the community for change, but it's all the organisations, all of that vested knowledge and experience of all the reconciliation managers from the many organisations that are participating in using weavr. It's them telling us what to do. Yeah. So everything that we've got in the product at the moment is blowing them away, but it's amazing. Like, they get to this point and they're like, oh, can you make it do this and can you make it do that? That's what I'm excited about. That's where we want to take it. You know, we listen and we'll respond. You know, mob are always good listeners. We're good yarning. But we're good listeners as well. That's something we grew up with. Matriarchal society. We learnt from aunties sitting down there, be quiet. We're told, sit down and listen. And that's what we learn how to do. We're very good listeners, and I think that's one of the gifts that we have as an Indigenous business, is that we listen and product evolves. One of the things that we're doing as well is to take it down the path of ESG.
Yeah.
So there's more than just, obviously around the world there's not every country doing reconciliation, but more and more organisations are not just being judged on their balance sheet. These days it's about the social impact that they make as well. So we're kind of interested in going down that path as well. So women's equality, how they're implementing things for people with disabilities. So all these different areas where it's about representing how they're performing for the community as well.
Yeah. So let me just ask you then, what is your legacy? What is Kieran going to be remembered for?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, at the end of the day, I just want to work hard and make change, but I think there is a responsibility to a certain extent on our shoulders as far as being an Indigenous software company. And not only that, but creating software that organisations use. If we're going to pave the way for more mob to get into STEM and to start their own tech businesses and start their own software businesses, it's really important for some of the Indigenous businesses that are putting out some of those first products to do a really good job. Yeah. So I think the legacy that I guess we'd like to leave behind is to put out a product that matches it with the best products in the world, so that the next generations of Indigenous coming through there are absolutely, able to build on that foundation where people are like, oh, awesome, an Indigenous software company. We've used software before from Indigenous businesses and it's amazing, so we're wide open to that.
That's fantastic. Have you got any kind of final message you want to leave our viewers with?
I think it's important for these days, for a lot of, you're seeing so many more young Indigenous people getting through university and going on into different areas where they're breaking new territory. STEM is a huge space. And I feel like it's really important for everyone to try and create opportunities for Indigenous people to get into STEM, whether it be science, technology, engineering or mathematics, any of those kind of fields, because the rest of the world is surging in that area. They say that, that 4 out of 5 jobs in 20 years' time are going to involve one of those areas. So if our mob aren't getting involved now, we're actually going to be going backwards. Yeah. So it's really important that we're getting involved now. And I think corporate Australia has a huge opportunity to be able to assist in that.
Thank you so much, Kieran, for joining me this afternoon. And that's a really powerful message. So thanks again, everybody, and stay tuned for the next edition.